You guys can see I am not in my normal spot. I am not home. I am a mess right now wearing my Jets sweatshirt, but the New York Jets have just hired Darren Mougey as their general manager. A lot to get into. We'll break it down and much more all coming up here quickly on a breaking news edition of NY Flight Jets Talk.
Jets, Jets, let's go.
Jets wide receiver Wesley Walker. Wesley, how you doing today? ESPN writer Mr. Rich Cimini, Jets reporter for The Athletic Mr. Zach Rosenblatt, Hall of Famer and Jets legend Mr. Marty Lyons.
Your host, Connor Law.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into another edition of NY Flight Jets Talk, our second show of the day, Saturday, January 25th, 2025, and the Jets search for a head coach and general manager. Well, after a long time coming, it seems like it is officially over. It was reported yesterday by Josina Anderson the Jets were expected to hire Darren Muji. It was not confirmed by anyone else, but today, wow, now it is official. The Jets have hired Broncos assistant GM, well, now former Broncos assistant GM Darren Muji to be their next general manager. I was prepared for it. I had a feeling it was either going to be him or Trey Brown of the Cincinnati Bengals. Ultimately, Muji gets the job. I'm going to make this here quick because obviously you guys see I'm not in my normal setup here. Here's my initial reaction. Out of those three candidates the Jets were expressing interest in, I preferred Muji out of those three guys. Here's why I really liked him. He's someone who survived multiple regimes in Denver. He worked his way up their front office starting in 2012 as a scouting intern, climbed his way up the ranks to now assistant GM. He's skilled at relationship building. He was a college roommate of Kevin O'Connell. Great relationship with John Payton. Is known for dealing with ownership, building staffs, building relationships. Has a deep background in both pro and college scouting. So, among those finalists for the job, again, I'm going to make this clear. Neither of those names, there were a lot of names I would have preferred for the finalists than Darren Muji, Trey Brown, and Lance Newmark. But among those three, I think Muji's the best option. He's going to be the third youngest GM in all of football now at 39 years old. So that's where I stand right now on the hire. Happy it's official. Happy we can move on with that search. Those are my move on from this search, rather, now that it's coming to an end. A very, very, very long search. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll stay on here for a couple minutes longer. Drop your thoughts in the chat. I'm really, really excited to see what you guys have to say here on this. Drop your questions. We'll be sure to get to as many of those as we can. So let's see. Where are we? Smash the like, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget about our membership raffle. Membership you gives you a ticket, Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet, Corbett signed football, item from the merch store, channel emoji among the prizes we're giving away. So if you like the hire, go ahead, drop some memberships. Great way to support the show. But smashing the like button and subscribing help just as much, and those are both free. So please make sure you do that. Get your questions, comments, thoughts in the chat. I greatly appreciate all your support here. I'm in the car, so let's see if this is going to work. I'm going to try to drop the call-in link here if you guys want to get in and drop your thoughts. I don't know if I'm going to be able to pin it, but here, it's not letting me. Sorry, guys, I'm new to this in the car. I've never gone live in the car before. It's a first for everyone, I guess. Wait, let's see. Paste. Boom. There it is. It should be in the chat. Sorry, I normally have all the I have monitors set up so I can monitor the stream. But no, now I dropped the call-in link. So if you want to call into the show, it's right here. Voice your opinion on the hire. Please make sure you do so by clicking the link. Drop your questions, comments, thoughts. We'll get into those. Is the side view better? It seems like the side view is better. So we'll try to leave it like that. Where were our comments? Now when I have it, sorry guys, when I go to the side, I lose the comments. Here we go. Oscar the Grouch comes in here, says now it's official. Search has come to an end, ladies and gentlemen. John B says first to report on YouTube. John, appreciate you sticking with us. Oscar says, Connor, you broke the news first before I saw it on Instagram. It's so funny. I'm in the car right now. As you guys see, I just left my house and then boom. I had to go someplace and I see it. I'm like, Darren Muji's the GM, of course, right when I leave. And then I have to come outside, come back into the car, and film a reaction video. So that's where I am. I had to get it out quickly. I tried my best. It was a little laggy on the phone, but let me know if we have any new internet problems here. Yours is Connor breaking the story. Yes, sir. That's what we're trying to do here. Trying to get ahead and go early on these breaking news stories. Rod comes in, says go Jets. Rod, appreciate you tuning in. Someone under the name of Fire Aaron Glenn says Fire Aaron Glenn. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna happen. Matthias Simon comes in, says it's about time. Happy this search comes to an end. Jojo Townsell says, is this legitimate? Yes, Jojo. It's been confirmed by multiple people, from Adam Schefter all the way to Brian Costello and Rich Samini. Darren Muji is the New York Jets' next general manager. Jerry Moore, a channel member, comes in, says, go ahead, Connor, do your thing. Jerry Moore, appreciate you tuning in. John Carmen, yes, sir, it is official. Wild Wave says, nice here, Wild Wave, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm a mess right now, as you guys saw. I was not expecting to go live here. Dakota says this isn't new news to me. Well, it's now official. Josina Anderson was the only one reporting it the other day, so now it's officially official. There we go. Where are we? Kukolik Jet fan, Connor doing Ian Jet Central impressions, car videos, lol. I was not expecting this. I was not expecting to be in the car for this one. Let's see. I see we have a caller on the line. I'll get to the caller in a little. Zoink Nations is Connor Long, my dude. The first report, professional AF. Zoink Nation channel member. Appreciate you, my man. Jimmy Jet says Connor can drive. No, I cannot drive. I'm in the passenger seat right now. I'm not driving right now. Ace of Spade, our guy in the chat, comes in, says, why do you like Muji over Brown? Your take, some say Brown has more variety of experience with different teams. Yes, Brown has worked with multiple organizations compared to Darren Muji, who's just been with the Broncos. But talking to Bronco fans, hearing what Broncos insiders and reporters have had to say, he's really beloved in that building. Most importantly, he's survived a bunch of different regimes. He survived an ownership group. He's been through a bunch of different regimes while some of his colleagues at the time were fired. So he survived multiple regime changes, which I think is really, really important. He's skilled at relationship building. Something he's known for is dealing with ownership. And we know with the Jets, an ownership group isn't the best in the league. We'll say that. So I like someone who's been able to climb up the ranks, who has a deep background in pro and college scouting, has been with the team for over a decade. Now he's some describe him. He has a big presence about himself. He has a high IQ. That's where I am on Darren Muji over Trey Brown. But I understand why people would prefer to go the Trey Brown route here. Sharon comes in and says, wow, I caught you live. Happy you could be here, Sharon. Appreciate your support. Beloved Peace is happy it's over. Same with Cuca Lake Jet fan. I agree with Cuca Lake here, going with more experience. But these three finalists, like I said, I thought Muji was the best. Sharon says, tell him to bring Jim Leonard with him. Jim Leonard, the defensive backs coach, I think is his role with the Broncos. Former Jet. I don't think Jim Leonard would come here as a DC just because I think Aaron Glenn is going to have more say over his staff. I think Steve Wilkes is going to be the Jets' next defensive coordinator. Our guy Nate comes in. A lot of people owe Josina Anderson apology. I mean, that's a sure thing. Josina Anderson's been pretty much on the money throughout this search. Where are we? Oscar the Grouch, and I'm very curious to see who the OC is. Yeah, because obviously Sean Payton's the head coach in Denver. Aaron Glenn has a lot of ties to Sean Payton. Sean Payton, a lot of his people in New Orleans are on that Denver staff. Darren Muji from Denver, and a lot of the coordinator names that Aaron Glenn's been looking at who are from Denver. So who knows? Maybe that opens the door for a Pete Carmichael, who's a senior offensive analyst with the Broncos, who's connected to Aaron Glenn, or a Joe Lombardi, their passing game coordinator, who's also connected to Aaron Glenn. So the OC hire is going to be interesting. I agree. Now that you have someone else who also has ties to a lot of those Broncos people, so a lot to see here. Benny Baboon, comes in and here says, finally, yes sir, the search is finally over here. Finally over. Dingleberry Sports Highlights tuning in. Sup, everyone. And our guy Zoink Nation comes in with a gifted membership. Now I'm going to try my best. Let me know if you guys can still see me here. I'm going to try my best to see who the membership went to. Opening the YouTube tab on my phone. Let's see. Who did this maxed out on the... Hello? There we go. So, yeah, we maxed out on the memberships. This will get distributed later. I'll add it to the raffle. Zoink Nation, really appreciate it. You're in on the raffle. That's your first raffle ticket on the month. I really appreciate it. If you want to be just like Zoink Nation, get a ticket into our raffle, gift a membership. Garrett Wilson signed mini helmet. Winkerbet signed football, the free item from the merch store, channel emoji among the prizes we're giving away this month, so be sure you get in on that. Daniel Bear Sports Highlights has been a member for 1 month. Says Jets bounce back next season. That's the goal, brother. That's the goal. Don't punt on next season. Don't punt on next season whatsoever. Where are we? Jimmy says Victor Green or Leonard. Jimmy, Victor Green's a really interesting name. Safety. with the Jets' really, really, really strong relationship with Aaron Glenn, which is I think is going to be important here. Problem is, I don't think he has no coaching experience whatsoever. Not even at like the high school level or anything. He has never coached before. I could potentially see him coming in as like a defensive backs coach, a defensive assistant, a safeties coach, something like that. Don't rule Victor Green out here. I could see him finding some role on the coaching staff. Joey R, channel member, says Connor Muji was my favorite because the fact he stuck around with so long with Denver speaks volumes. But his likability, but his likability, and that's what a GM needs to be successful. I think there was a typo in there. I get what you're saying there, Joey R. That's what I said earlier on at the top of the show. Why he was my favorite out of these three finalists here. Surviving multiple regime changes, being able to build relationships, working his way up from a scouting intern to an assistant GM. A deep background in pro and college scouting. I think that, like you said, there speaks volume. I think those are important intangibles as we look here. Smash the like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. I appreciate you tuning in. Get your questions, comments, super chats, thoughts, memberships in. We'll be sure to get to those in the last few minutes. If you want to call into the show, click the pinned comment in the chat. Our first caller is up, and it's our guy, Mike T. Let's try to get him on the show here. Mike, joining us here on the program. Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Connor.
How are you, man?
I'm very impressed with your work, young man. You have a bright future.
I appreciate that, man. That means a lot. I appreciate you calling in as well. You got any initial thoughts you want to share on this hiring being official?
Yeah, so I think we got the right guy. The fact that he was endorsed by Sean Payton should go a long ways, right? Because Payton and the coach has that relationship over the years, right?
Yep.
And so the other guy, Trey Brown, I know he has that experience as a talent evaluator, but where's the connection with the coach and the Cincinnati guy? I don't think there is. So I'm very comfortable with this pick.
Yeah, Mike, like I
feeling
said,
feeling good.
Yeah, like I said there, certainly Darren Muji was someone, I'm going to be honest here. He was not on my radar whatsoever when this search first started. Quite frankly, the two guys I thought were going to be front runners for the jobs, and John Dorsey and Ray Agnew, didn't even get interviews. So that just shows how crazy it was from the way the Jets conducted this search here. I said that earlier, though. Among the three finalists, I think Darren Muji was the Jets' best option. Background in pro and college scouting. Like you said, survived multiple regimes, strong relationship builder. Worked his way up as a scouting intern to now assistant GM. Like, that's a meteoric rise. Even though it took him from 2011 or 2012, I believe it was, 2024 to 2022, when he first yielded the assistant GM role to complete that. It's still remarkable that someone is liked that much, that he's able to survive multiple regime changes when a lot of his colleagues were canned. I think there's something to be said for that. While he's still 39 years old, Mike. He's going to be the third youngest general manager in all of football. So I think this has the potential to be the right move, and I'm interested, like I said there, if we can unlock any coaches on that Denver coaching staff and try to poach them for Aaron Glenn here.
Well, and don't forget, before I lose this stuff, he was also the roommate of Kevin McCarthy.
Kevin O'Connell, yes. Kevin
O'Connell.
Former Jets backup quarterback, obviously, and now one of the best coaches in all of football. So the fact, and apparently, I think it was Rich Cimini I said who saw it, from speaking to sources, he said that Kevin O'Connell's personality aligns very alike to Darren Muji, which I think could be interesting. Mike, this was a move I was sensing since I'd say yesterday morning, but I'm happy that it's officially official and we can move on from this search now. Talk all things draft, talk all things free agency, all things offseason. Appreciate you calling in. You got any final thoughts?
Hey Connor, one of the things. I've been following you for over a year. And
oh, wow. I appreciate that, man.
I remember the interview with Rich Cimini, which was amazing. How you got him. So I guess your dad has an influence in all of this?
Well,
yeah.
He helped me become a Jet fan. That's how I became a Jet fan. My dad, and then his crazy story gave me this chance to get out of the organization. I've told the story multiple times after the Raiders game. I think 2019 it was. He was like, there's going to be a lot of suffering if you want to be a Jet fan. You have a choice. You can either stick with this team or you can switch teams. But once you switch teams, you got to stick with them. I said, I'll sleep on it, Dad. I woke up the next morning. I said I was riding with the Jets. Ever since then, I've really been a diehard fan of this team. And then, yeah, obviously starting the podcast a little over a year ago now. First episode on Christmas Day 2023. So, yeah, a little over a year now. I appreciate you supporting the show for such a long time since the show was really getting underway.
Yeah, keep up the good work, Connor. And one final question: Are you
Mhm.
are you for keeping Rodgers, or
Um,
you have a clean slate? Yeah,
So where I am right now, Mike, is I want to put this team in the best position to win today. I know a lot of people are going to want to focus on the long term, winning a Super Bowl in 4 or 5 years. I want to do that as well. But at the same time, I want to put this team in the best position to win in 2025. Because, Mike, let's be real. Coaching is the main reason last year that team was not 12-5 and in the playoffs.
absolutely, absolutely.
So, Aaron Rodgers did not play great football. I'm not a big Aaron Rodgers fan. I'm going to be honest. I was the biggest
Really?
advocate for getting rid of Rodgers. At the end of the season, I was all for that. The contract's a mess. You got to just move on from him. Like you said, they're clean slate, start fresh. That was my mentality right away. And now that you see an Aaron Glenn come in and Darren Muji, two first-time guys who are going to be learning on the job, I'd rather feel comfortable with the 41-year-old, the future Pro Football Hall of Famer, trotting out there on the field than the Jets trying to take a flyer on a Justin Fields at free agency and have
Yeah.
him be a bridge option compared to a com- compared to I think they're going to draft a guy next year. I don't think they're going to. They might draft a quarterback this year, but not with the expectation of trying to groom him to be the franchise guy. I think they're
Yeah.
going to save that to 2026. That's what I think they're going to do. So at this point, if Aaron Rodgers is not willing to take a pay cut, you have to say good riddance and move on because that cap scenario is absolutely terrible right now if you were to keep him on his current deal next season. If Aaron Rodgers says, hey, he's due to make $37 million next season, if he says, hey, I want to be here, I'll take a $15 to $17 million pay cut, lower my AAV to $22 million, become the lowest paid quarterback in all of football alongside Geno Smith. I want to be a Jet, then I say sign me up. I want that guy. And then you bring back Devontae Adams with him and restructure Adams' deal as well. I think that is the Jets' best option to put them in the best position to win next season. So if he says he's not taking a pay cut, you can't bring him back. But if he's willing to lower his salary tremendously, I think you bring him back next season. Because, quite frankly, I think he gives them the best chance to win. And again, my opinion has changed because I've discovered more information. If Brian Flores was the head coach of this team, I would not have wanted Aaron Rodgers back, and I don't think he would come back next season.
And why is that? What is that thing with Brian Flores and Rodgers?
Well, they don't have a connection, but my thing is Brian Flores has head coaching experience. I could see him trying to work and groom a younger guy, take a flyer on Justin Fields who has more upside compared to Aaron Glenn, who's been a Jet before. Let's keep that in mind. He was
Yep,
a Jet for 8
of course.
seasons. He was a personnel scout with them 2 seasons after his retirement. Let's keep that in mind there. And most importantly, he's a first-time defensive-minded head coach. So he's never been a head coach before. I could see him going like, hey, I don't have I hope they have faith in their offensive coordinator. I think Nick Caley is ultimately who they're going to hire. And I think he could be a great hire. But I could see a first-time defensive-minded coach in Glenn saying, hey, I want to run it back with the 41, soon-to-be 42-year-old quarterback and see what I have. Try to lead this team to the playoffs for the first time in over 14 years. So that's where I am. That's where I am right now.
Yeah, so we've seen those buzz about Glenn wanting to bring Rodgers back. I don't know if that's just fabrication or what.
It's just like murmurings. Yeah, I don't think it's
yeah. But there's been many post pressers where Aaron Rodgers has expressed first he enjoyed these 2 years in New York, even year one, right? Which is impressive if you think about it. But he has mentioned many times he's a man of, he wants to return, but he's going to give it some thought. And he's also said he's willing to be play that mentor role next year.
Mm-hmm.
So he has not hide those feelings. So I want him back. I mean, watching a Hall of Famer behind center, what a refreshing experience compared to what we saw the days with Zach Wilson. Come on, Connor. Let's bring him back. Bring him back.
I certainly understand why people want him back next season, and I do. But
and you say you want to win, right? So what's your best choice?
That's what I said. I said most importantly, though, on a reduced contract. Like, he needs to take a pay cut next season.
I think he's willing to. He already said he literally said in one of his pressers, I've made enough money.
Yeah.
He's
But
giving
the question is, when push
all the
comes to shove,
hints.
he also said I've been immunized when he never got vaccinated. That's a conversation for a
Come on,
whole
who
nother day.
cares?
But I mean,
He's from California. You forgive him, Connor.
is he actually willing to take a pay cut though? Like, if
I
he
think
is,
he is. I think he
okay.
is.
If he is, then sign me up. I want Aaron Rodgers to be my quarterback next season.
With
And
Devontae.
with Devontae has to restructure his deal too, Mike. Let's keep that in mind.
Of course. We're not paying him that salary for next year.
No. They're both making a crazy amount of money. So you restructure both of them. I want them back. They give us the best chance to win. So that's where I am. State of the team. Mike, appreciate you hopping on. You got any final thoughts?
No, I'm good, Connor. Keep up the good work, buddy. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate you guys. Mike.
Go Jets.
Yes, sir. Great stuff as always. Our guy Mike tuning in here on the program. If you want to call in just like Mike, click the pinned comment in the chat. Get your questions, comments, thoughts in. We'll be sure to get to those. We're going to wrap up here shortly. Get about our membership raffle. You like the GM hire? Go ahead, drop some memberships. Great way to support the show. I was just making an example there. I didn't want to bring anything into it seriously because he said he was immunized. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, for example, Devontae. Here's what would have been a better example. Devontae Adams said he would come back next season, even if Aaron Rodgers isn't here. Do you think that's the truth? Like, you could say anything you want. The question is, are you actually gonna, live up to what you said? I hope Aaron Rodgers is stating the truth, and he is willing to take a pay cut next season. I hope that is the case. Where did we leave off? Listen to Amanon. Let me try to get this right. Amanon. There we go. Correct me if I got it right there. Hit the like for the kid. Hit it for the kid. There we go. Listen to Amanon. Hit the like. Appreciate you guys. Kaden comes in and says, LOL, Connor, I messaged you on Twitter like 10 minutes before this happened, wondering, quote, no GM hire stuff. Kaden, I didn't see it. I was in the car, so I didn't see it. I got to check that out. That's so funny, man. Appreciate you tuning in, guys. You guys are the best listeners in the world. I appreciate your support on the show. Jimmy says as long as he gets rid of Hackett, that's another thing. He's going to have to be willing to learn a new offensive system. It's not going to be his offense anymore. That's another thing we're going to have to keep in mind here. Joey says Aaron Rodgers needs to go because the rest of the circus comes along with him. I can understand why people think that way. Good point here from SW Lion. AG knows how good Rodgers is, having played against him when he was with the Packers. Good point there. Ace of Spade, what have you heard from Denver insiders? How good is his talent evaluation? ? Can he handle cap and build a roster aside from being a scout? Good question here. He's skilled at relationship building, skilled with building staffs. You said, can he manage cap and building a roster? I don't know too much about his cap background. I'll dig into that later. We're going to be on tomorrow morning breaking down his resume fully in depth. This is just the initial reactions to show. I don't know how experienced he is with the cap. I'll get into that, but I think that's a valid question. He's certainly favored towards being a talent evaluator and being able to build a staff. Survivor Series says, I like the hire, but GM hires are a larger crapshoot than even the head coaching hire. I agree. Like, for example, Joe Douglas he did everything he can towards the end of his tenure to put the team in the best position to win, but ultimately he was 30 and 60 something, which just simply was not good enough over his tenure. So I agree. Jimmy Jets, an absolute legend, comes in and gifts a membership. Jimmy, you mean the world. Appreciate your support on the show. Still leading our membership raffle. Be sure to give memberships. Appreciate all your support on the show. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Jimmy, you're the GOAT. Means a lot. Appreciate you. We're going to wrap up here soon, I think. Last chance to get your final questions, comments, thoughts in. Still, if you want to call into the show, click the pinned comment in the chat. We'll get you up on the screen. Appreciate you tuning in. SW Line, well, I have to think that AG and the new GM see Aaron Rodgers the same way. Hope that's the case. Charles Gorman, channel member, our guy comes in and says, hello, everybody. Charles, good to see you in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. Ace of Spade, good question here. Do you know if Muji's respected league-wide or just in Denver? Well, Ace of Spade, from what I've heard and read, he's been viewed as a rising GM candidate. From what I've seen / heard, the short answer here is yes. From what I've seen, he is known to be respected around the league, and he's been viewed as one of the fastest rising GM candidates in all of football, which is super interesting to keep an eye on too. So certainly. He's been viewed as a rising star and up and comer. That's the way they do it. Jimmy gets his Connor. Let's wrap it up before mommy. Connor, get back to the car. Jimmy, you're the goat. Appreciate you tuning in. All right, last chance to get your final questions, comments, thoughts, and membership, super chats, calls. If you want to call in, click the pinned comment in the chat. You'll come right up on the screen. We'll be live 1 or 2 times tomorrow. It depends. I was planning on doing a mock draft. If you were in the earlier show, we spoke about doing a mock draft tomorrow. Maybe we could do like half Muji, half mock draft. We'll get a guest on. That could be fun. I don't know if I'll be able to squeeze in 2 shows though with the games on tomorrow. It might be tough. Joey, Connor, we will all know if Muji's an excellent GM because of his first order of business is finally fixing our O-line. Joey, I think this is the first offseason. We're not going to be talking about fixing an offensive line here. I think 4 of the 5 pieces are set in stone in Olu Fashanu, Joe Tippmann, John Simpson, Elijah Vera Tucker. I think those are 4 fits of the offensive line. Re-signing Morgan Moses could potentially solidify all 5 spots. I want Morgan Moses back on a 1-year prove-it deal. Not particularly a veteran minimum, but a cheaper 1-year deal. I want him to come back as a backup, though. I want him back as a backup. I would sign a right tackle to start in free agency or draft a guy. Gary Zabel from North Dakota State is an interesting interesting name if they want to go tackle in the 2nd or 3rd round. I think Morgan Moses, though, is returning to this team as a backup, and they ultimately sign someone in free agency or draft someone. Kaden says, when you expect Garrett to get re-signed? I think he'll play this season, obviously the last year of his rookie deal. Play on the 50. I think they'll extend him next offseason or this offseason. If I had to make a prediction, I'd say next offseason is when the new GM, just because it's a new regime coming in, and they'll say maybe I want to see 1 season. We didn't draft him. I want to see 1 season under, while I'm leading the charge. So I can see a new regime looking at it that way. I'd say next offseason if I had to make a prediction. Appreciate you guys. Are gonna wrap up here soon. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. Interesting day. Of course, right when I was on earlier today, and of course, right when I have to leave the house and I have to do something, that's hire a GM. And I was like, I don't know what to do. Should I just wait till I get home? It's like, nah. I'll just go on. So I said, all right, I'll come back out to the car. Go ahead, I'll do a nice. I said I was gonna do a 5-minute show, but it ended up going 30 minutes. Thanks to you guys, best listeners in the world. Wow, seems like the search, well, it's over. Darren, Mougey, Aaron Glenn in the house. Now you need an OC, DC, special teams coordinator, all that jazz. But the 2 main figures, the 2 main jobs we've been talking about for such a long time now, since week 6 for the head coaching job, and they fired him in week 5. Since week 5 or 6, we've been talking about the head coaching job. And then since week 9 or 10, whatever it was, we've been talking about the GM search. So happy it came to an end. Caden can't wait till the mock draft. Caden, everyone stay tuned for that. Subscribe to the channel, like if you haven't already. First off, and then we'll be doing a mock draft, breaking down Muji and much more. So that's what we'll be breaking down. I expect most of the staff to get in here shortly. I think they'll get an OC and a DC in by Monday or Tuesday. I think most of the main parts of the staff will be assembled by the end of next week. I think that's the hope. That's the goal. I think that's ultimately what will happen. So I appreciate you guys. Just going to wrap up here. Approaching the 30-minute mark here on the show. You guys mean the world. Appreciate all of your support wrapping up here on this breaking news edition of NY Flight Jet Stock. If you missed it, well, the New York Jets have hired Darren Mougey as their next general manager. Rewind and listen to what I had to say about the hire. Listen to what Mike had to say, who called into the show. Great stuff as always. Appreciate you guys. I am your host, Connor Long, signing off here on this Saturday afternoon. JTS, Jets.